Hello and welcome to the Geek Sandbag. I hope you guys are well. Can you believe it? I woke up this morning and the whole world has been taken over by trees. Anyway, I've ignored the government warning to stay inside and I've left the house, and this is my review of Doctor Who Series 8 Episode 10, In the Forest of the Night. So, In the Forest of the Night by Frank Cottrell Boyce, his first script for Doctor Who, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be too bothered if it was his last. I found this episode to be a complete mess and quite frankly dull. The actual concept behind it was pretty good, with people waking up to find that the Earth has been taken over by the trees. I like that idea, but nothing happened with it. The episode went nowhere and just plodded along. This centred around London, although I take it that the whole world was actually taken over, and there seemed to be about 12 people on the streets, just our main characters that we got to see. Now this is fine, but come on guys, this is London. I mean, even if the government told people to stay inside, they would be everywhere, but it felt like the streets were deserted. All we got was this forest with a few little props to remind us that we were actually in London. Peter Capaldi continues to shine as the Doctor, even when he's given a dull script like this. And I love the scenes at the beginning where he met Maeve, the young girl. He seemed to have a sort of psychic connection with the forest, where he was shooing her away from the TARDIS, totally uninterested in what was going on. A big majority of the cast is made up of kids, and I don't know what it is about Doctor Who, but whenever it has kid characters, it always writes them the same. They're always really bratty and arrogant and annoying, and it's a shame because not all kids are like that, I'm led to believe. Anyway, so the Doctor obviously is looking after these kids and he's trying to find out what's going to happen with the trees taking over, but there was no sense of threat or danger apart from the odd tiger being thrown in, and there was a scene where Nelson's column collapsed for no reason whatsoever. It was simply there to try and add a bit of excitement into what was a really dull episode. Of course, we've still got the thing going on between Danny and Clara, and this again is becoming a bit tired. You know, even the actors looked a bit bored in this episode, and the Doctor was written as a bit of a buffoon. It took him all the way to the end of the episode to work out what was going on, and then he suddenly realised that the trees were actually trying to save the Earth. If I had kids, I think I'd think twice before I sent them to Coal Hill School, because Danny and Clara seem more wrapped up in themselves than actually looking after any of the kids. One of the biggest offenders in this episode for me is the mum of the kid. Even though she was barely in it, her acting was dreadful with her big gawpy eyes. But I would like to get myself one of her bikes, because she managed to get from Shoreditch to the centre of London in record-breaking time, considering how far away they are, and also the fact that London's taken over by trees. So when we got to the end, there was sort of a mention earlier of this girl that had gone missing, Maeve's sister, and she suddenly turns up in a bush at the end as a teenager. What the hell was that about? I mean, were we supposed to care? I really didn't get it. Again, it was just thrown in there. There were so many ideas in this episode that were just loose threads that went absolutely nowhere. It just feels like a really underdeveloped script to me. Guys, I hate to be down on an episode of Doctor Who. Series 8 has been brilliant up until now. I've loved it. And I think that's why I feel so passionately that this episode was such a letdown. Yeah, we're bound to get the odd clunker in a series, but for me this was just dull, and it's certainly not an episode I will go back to watch very often. Anyway, next week's trailer for Dark Water more than made up for it. My jaw was on the floor. I can't wait for the first part of the series finale this weekend. But just going back to In the Forest of the Night for a second, I'm going to give it a score of 5 out of 10. So there you have it. Do leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this episode, and please check out thegeekshandbag.com for more news and videos by me. Right, I'll see you next week for part 1 of the big finale. This is looking good. Take care guys.